In this video we're going to try and make a handbrake. Whether it's going to work or not, let's find out. Back in the coal garage looking at the next job on the list, which is the handbrake. Now this is an original 1930 Model A, which I believe is the same as the one that's in the 32. Could be wrong, but it's the only one that I've got. So instead of using a modern handbrake, I want to use something retro like this. However, originally it would have a bar system that clamps to something, and I don't know whether it's rods maybe, but yeah, we don't need that bit. We've converted it to a more modern setup, which is basically then a bracket with two kind of handbrake cables to it. The problem is I need to work out how to mount this in the car. So I've gone through my scrap box, I've got a load of bits of scrap, little bits of metal, bolts and whatnot, and we're just going to cobble something together and hopefully we'll get this somehow mounted in the car. So I'm going to just put that there for a minute. But basically we've got the bracket done for mounting this. Now obviously I've not painted the top, so I need to be welding this in. But how this fits, hopefully, is in the car. We're going to be able to, hard to do it, but just basically chuck two nuts on there. We should have that welded in. As you can see, then obviously the bracket clears all the moving mechanism. So yeah, let's weld this in. Let's just make sure then obviously everything clears still. And then it's time to look at the rear parts of the brackets, which hold kind of the handbrake cables themselves. And obviously I still need to bash some holes through the floor. So let's weld this in. Top half of the bracket welded in, and now I'm just going to do some strengthening gussets. Got a little one for the front and a bigger one for a rear, but yeah, we'll get these welded in. I mean, it's pretty solid as it is, but obviously I don't want it to fatigue, crack by kind of doing the handbrake over and over and over again. So at least this is going to box it into kind of the inner section. So weld these in, and then the mount's pretty much done. Now have a working 1930s or 1932 handbrake lever. It's out of the way for the gear stick, which is kind of the most important thing. Obviously when I'm smashing through gears, then I don't want to be hitting the handbrake. However, I do now need to take the bracket off of the bottom of the cables, which is underneath the car, take the seat out, and need to look at kind of the intermediate bracket. I'm going to hopefully just put the cables through the car body itself, so it's out of the way of all the four-link and all the suspension underneath, and then just have them kind of loosely go into the bracket, which hopefully I can get on the seat area somewhere. And then we've only got kind of two cables coming forward mounting onto this bit here. So that's the plan. I need to get the seat out to do the next bit, and obviously I need to drill the floor. So let's go. comes with the handbrake setup itself is too small for my application. So I've got some thicker steel and marked out where I need to put some holes through. So the plan is to dash some holes through here, then chop it down and then do kind of a nice finishing edge on there. That will allow me to weld all the way across the bottom and up the sides, both sides, and then I may end up putting a little triangle piece in. But let's do the holes for now and then worry about this in a bit. Cables are done. Obviously I'm just leaving some kind of PU adhesive to kind of just set, which I'm using as a seam sealer. So yeah, I can't really do anything else on that. So the next job is tail lights, and I know that sounds pretty random, but the reason being is because I actually want to do the trunk. I want to be able to mount the trunk hinges, and I want to be able to do all the trunk hardware. The problem with that is at the moment I can't just drop the trunk in place because this panel needs to go in. And this panel basically sits at the rear of the trunk, so if I'm stood outside the vehicle it's here and the trunk lifts like that. And this needs bonding in. Now I've already modified this for drain tubes, so we've got some carbon fibre bonded in with some methacrylate, so obviously any water that goes into this will just drain out. Obviously there's got to be a tube that goes onto that, but the problem is I can't just bond this in. I thought I could this morning, but then I remembered that the tail lights fit from the back, so they fit on the back of the car. However, you have to screw them in from the inside of the vehicle, and if I need to change the bulbs I have to do that again from the inside of the vehicle. So if I bonded this in, there is no way I'm going to be getting the tail lights in, because obviously, like I say, the tail lights kind of sit like that. So I need to modify this panel to be able to get access to the back of this, and I also obviously need to modify the back panel of the car to be able to bolt these straight through. So we need to plan out where these are going so they look decent, mash holes through the back, mash holes through this, and yeah, then we might be able to get onto the trunk, who knows. So, methacrylate is dry. It's only took like 15-20 minutes, but it ain't going anywhere. It's proper solid. So that's where I'm going to leave the video for the time being. I'm going to work on the trunk in the next video, hopefully. So if you watch this far, I just want to say thank you. Hopefully see you in the next video. Peace out.